Welcome to an evening version of the crossover with Ryno. What's happening? Everybody rested up. Get your King's Clinchmas, whatever we want to call it, hangover out of you. How did you celebrate today? I mean, I heard some very, very creative ideas from those that were maybe going into the office, looking to get their coworkers involved. Heard from some people that a really long night, which is completely understandable, and they totally get that. I mean, you've been thinking about this day for so long. I mean, especially if you were a Kings fan that's lived through playoff runs. If you weren't a Kings fan that had lived through a playoff run, like we've got a few, Conman, who is a contributor to this show, he didn't know what to expect. But if you did know what to expect, it almost made it like that much more special because you saw it through. You waited. You always wondered what would it be like, and the Kings flirted with it a few times, right? They had 2 years where they were in playoff contention. That year with Dave Yeager, where they were over 500 by like 4 or 5 games, I want to say, and then it just all fell apart. The wheels came off the wagon. But this is it. The wheels aren't coming off this wagon in terms of making the playoffs. They have an X to their name, which means they are not going to be excluded from participating in extra basketball, which is what we've been waiting for, like I said, for so long. And speaking of waiting, now it's a waiting game, right? We got to see who the Kings are gonna play, and that's gonna be exciting too. And on the post game show last night with Grant, we ran down the Kings' remaining schedule versus Memphis's remaining schedule. Memphis playing pretty decent basketball right now. They were struggling with Morant for a little bit, and then the entire situation with him occurs, and next thing you know, you think, oh, they're going to drop. Kings will automatically be a 2. No, they run off like 6 in a row. And 6 of 8, I think it was, before Morant returned. And really got some great production from some guys off their bench that don't normally start. And the cool thing for them is now they have an extra piece, right? Or somebody that maybe wouldn't have got that opportunity. Now they can plug them into the lineup and see where it goes. But speaking of the schedule, Memphis's schedule coming home is not a cakewalk. They are on the road more than the Kings are, and they play better teams, just flat out. But we don't know what the Kings are going to do with Sabonis, Fox. I wouldn't expect Mike Brown to sit either of them out, with the exception of the final game in Denver. Denver's already starting to kind of slow things down. Jokic is not playing tonight. So by the time that 82nd game of the season rolls around, that one's going to be bench guys. But what's interesting is, the Warriors, Minnesota, the Clippers, they're all fighting for spots. Not spots, but they're fighting for placement on who they think they want to play against. And the overwhelming consensus pick has been the Kings. Everybody wants the Kings. And Golden State saying, specifically Draymond Green, that he wants the Kings because, oh, well, we don't have to travel that far. Last year we had to travel across the country, yada, yada, yada. Well, guess what? You guys still won a championship. So I wouldn't put travel as the reason you want to play the Kings. You're using that as the public excuse as to why you want to play the Kings. You want to play the Kings. You think you can beat them, and you think that your fans are going to travel with you guys. So that's kind of not so much the traveling for some of the other teams, but like your Minnesotas, they want to play the Kings. Absolutely. They have played the Kings great this season. Clippers, I don't know. I think the Kings have the Clippers number. The Clippers are old, they're slow. There's something about the Kings and the way those two teams mesh that I do not have any apprehension or any type of nervousness about the Kings and the Clippers. I think the Kings would win that 4-game series, but it's gonna be fun to see how it plays out and what the Kings do. I mean, Phoenix, we don't want to see Phoenix in the first round. So I guess what I'm saying is, like, with the Kings playing the Warriors the second to the last game of the season, that the Kings could be in a position where if they win that game, that means the Warriors would play the Kings, and vice versa. If Kings don't win that game, then maybe they get Minnesota. So they could possibly have a choice of who they want. And that would be a game where Mike Brown either puts his guys all on the floor, plays them like a normal game, and it'll give us an idea of who the Kings think that they want to play. But I really think this team doesn't care who they play. They're just happy to be there. It's house money. The atmosphere in Portland, it was weird. It was a really, really weird kind of game atmosphere, especially the first half. Portland throwing out all that zone defense at the Kings. The Kings had no idea how to respond to it. But then you have the Portland fans that are just kind of, they're there to be there, not really into it. And then you've got Kings fans there, like on pins and needles, hoping that the team clinches. And then you've only got a 4-point deficit or a 4-point lead at halftime if you're the Kings, which makes those fans, the Kings fans, even more nervous. But then in the third quarter, the Kings remembered that they were the Kings, and things started to get more interesting, and everybody got a little bit more excited Kings-wise. And it was a special night. I particularly liked all the close-ups on Carmichael Dave. That was really interesting. They kept going back to him so many times. And one of the live reads was about a taco and margarita and wrestling festival. It's coming here to Sacramento. And they did one of the slow pans onto Dave. And they go, oh, and that guy, he'll be able, or he's going to want to eat a few. I just thought that was absolutely hilarious. Sorry, the mic went out for a second. I thought that was absolutely hilarious because Dave had no clue. But all joking aside, once Dave realized that this was happening and they started to go back to him on camera as the game ended, see the tears in his eyes. Those are real. Those are so real. And that's why, it's not like it's a taboo thing that Grant and I don't bring up the radio station. Grant's very good friends with Dave. I have had Dave on my show. He's a really nice guy, and it's why I had to bring him up. Like, if it was not for Dave, and not just Dave alone, but Dave was a big part in keeping this team here. There is no team name next to an X saying that the playoffs have been clinched without Dave, without Grant, without the silent investors that stepped up, without Daryl Steinberg flying to New York City on a red eye when he was on the city council to convince the owners and the NBA board of governors that the council would approve a plan that Kevin Johnson was talking about, and to have there was a conglomerate of Kings fans that made the trip to New York City, They were standing outside in the streets chanting while the meeting was going on. And the NBA owners, David Stern, Board of Governors, they could all hear the Kings fans chanting. Do you think anybody from Seattle did that? No, I don't think so. And no knock on Seattle. Seattle's a great sports city. But, it's just different. I don't know how else to put it. It's different. This would be like Seattle losing the Seahawks, and we know what the Seahawks are to Seattle. So, anyways, enough of that. Another bright spot, Keegan Murray. He breaks the NBA rookie record for three-pointers made in a season. Used to belong to Donovan Mitchell. That is now broken. Keegan Murray inks his name in the history books. Very exciting. That's a huge deal. Now, if Keegan Murray was playing on, I don't know, let's say the Oklahoma City Thunder, or let's say the Atlanta Hawks, or, just a marginal team. And Oklahoma City's better than marginal, so that was a bad example. But if he's playing on one of those teams, he's not breaking that record. Keegan, his style is perfect for what the Kings group does right now on offense, where it's just spot up, hit a three. He's a spot up shooter. Now, when Keegan can integrate and grow a dribble drive, a pump fake, slide step into his game, that's going to change everything, and he will. We've got to remember, he is a rookie. You usually do not start seeing the best out of guys until their third and fourth years. I know he's been troubled off the floor, but Ja Morant, look at the leap this guy took. He was great in his rookie year, but he went to that upper echelon his third year, fourth year. So, and I'm not saying Keegan's going to be a Ja Morant, but what I'm saying is even the best of them, it takes time to develop. De'Aaron Fox has gotten better every single season. But what happens is these guys get exposed to different coaches. They get exposed to different types of training. Phil Handy, who is on the Los Angeles Lakers staff. Phil Handy is one of the best one-on-one offensive basketball minds and teachers in the world. And he's worked with LeBron James very closely with LeBron. Anybody who is somebody in the NBA, Phil Handy in the offseason works with them. And De'Aaron started working with Phil 2 summers ago. And you can, all those little things that you see in De'Aaron's game now, with the Euro step, with slide steps, the step back jumper, the way that De'Aaron kind of checks to see what's there, whether he gives a jab and goes the other way. That's all Phil Handy stuff. That is what Phil teaches. And so, shoot, you get a Keegan Murray with a Phil Handy, sky's the limit. So, anyways, enough about the technical stuff with the Kings. I want to know how everybody I want to know how you celebrated last night. I know we were getting some messages on the post-game show. I think it was ice cream cake and Coors Light. Has it worn off? Like, has the Clinchmas spirit gone away? And now it's like, okay, time to go to work. We know that we're going to be in the playoffs and in for a tough matchup in the first round, whoever we play. Or is it, no, it's time to take on the world. Let's go. So I'd love to know where everybody's at with that right now. My boys over at Stucknut, they are live right now as well. So please, if you're a Jim Rome fan, go check out Stucknut Radio, www.stucknut.com. Click the radio tab. You can see them live. They're talking the show, talking the website. just recapping the month and having a good time. Steve, Bacon, and Pool Doc, they are all the best. Go give them some love. Absolutely love those guys to death. So, anyways, and it's been an interesting time in the jungle. I guess I haven't really told my story, but we'll get to that at some point. So, tomorrow night, Kings back at it with Portland, the same Portland team. Do not expect Portland to bring anybody off of that list that was not playing yesterday to play on Friday night. So, and I'm going to credit Haunted Horse with this. I did it during the shows. I didn't realize this, and he gave me some additional information. So, it seems the reason Portland is doing this is because they owe Chicago a first-round pick. However, if that pick is a lottery pick, it is protected and it does not need to go to Chicago. So basically, any first-round pick Portland has goes to Chicago until 2028, unless it's a lottery pick. So because Portland was flirting with that play-in, they just shut it down. They said they pulled the dogs off and said, we are going to make sure that we are in the lottery, because they're at a weird stage, right? You still got Dame, and I almost feel like the clock's ticking. Like it's only going to be a matter of time before we hear I want out of Portland, because they've done a lot for Dame to, make him happy, to give him pieces that complement what he does. And for whatever reason, it's just never really clicked beyond him and McCollum. And him and CJ McCollum I thought they were a great fit for a very long time, arguably before Steph and Clay, the best backcourt, best duo in the Western Conference. But that obviously faded away. And, then they go out and they get Thibault. But Thibault, great player. He's not going to make that. He's not the difference maker that they need. So where's Portland going to do it? It's got to be the draft, right? So these draft picks are so important to Portland to build, because much like Sacramento, I mean, not a lot of people are going to be thrilled to go play in Portland, even though they've got a great fan base. And I think it's a really good basketball city, but it's smaller market, a lot of rain. It's not New York City. Sacramento, same kind of thing. Weather's a little bit different, but the thing with Sacramento is now the way this team's playing, the culture that this team has, the head coach. This is a place that is very attractive to free agents now. And that's exactly what the Kings are missing. They are 1/3 option away from being a legit contender. The way that they are built now, they are 1/3 option away. And when I say third option, I mean that third guy in the starting lineup that can run the show if he needs to run the show because somebody's hurt, and can also score 15 to 20 points a night alongside Sabonis and Fox. So if they can do that, watch the hell out. And with Monty, we have to trust his process. We have to trust what he has done so far. And there's layers to that. Part of the reason, part of the problems that they were having, Kings general managers, Kings coaches, was you had the owner who's never played a day of basketball in his life, poking his nose in to basketball meetings, not basketball operations, literal basketball meetings. Oh, maybe we should run a 4-man defense. Like, what kind of position does that put a head coach in? That's the owner that's signing your paychecks. That's also the owner that has not hesitated to axe head coaches like that. At one time, we had like 4 or 5 head coaches on the payroll, and I know some of them were from the Malou Fair and whatnot. But what I'm saying is that's just a very, touchy place where you have to sternly but respectfully make it known that's not happening. Thank you for your input, but then also not make it seem like you want that input to really continue. Well, it seems that, Vivek has really taken a step back from all of that. And Vivek brought his daughter in. She's the assistant GM of the Stockton Kings, and like he's got one of his sons involved. But it seems like Monty is really been able to have the autonomy to put his hands in the clay and mold it the way he wants to mold it. And to this point, my goodness, is it coming out well. So yeah, it's a fun time. It's a really, really fun time to be a Sacramento Kings fan. But tomorrow night they're back at it. Like I said, do not expect anything different with Portland. They're gonna, I don't want to say run the same hacks because I don't want to be disrespectful, but they're gonna run the same guys out there tomorrow night. And the defense. So that's my only worry. My only worry is that the Kings figure out a way to break that zone effectively, and the Kings did do that in the second half. But it's like it's rat trap for the Kings. Yeah, I know I said rat. I don't have the round and round sound drop, so I can't do it. But that's what it is. It's rat trap. It's a big chunk of cheese because you're giving open 3-pointers. That's what you are giving. And the Kings, very good 3-point shooting team. You'd think they'd want to take them, but the problem is they're taking them too quick. The motion in which they are taking them is so much different than how they would normally be taking a 3-point shot. It's more of a set shot motion when you're running against a zone. And what they have to do is exactly what they did in the second half. It's the guys at the bottom of the zone that have to come up from down in the corners and get into the middle and then let other guys crash in. So then the 3-pointers, if you want to shoot a 3-pointer, those are coming from the inside and being passed out rather than just being passed around on the outside. And with Herter, he can certainly do all of that. Harrison Barnes can do all of that. Sabonis can do all of that. So because what's happened now is there's enough of a sample size between what the New York Knicks did, between what the Utah Jazz did, with what the Toronto Raptors did, and what Portland Trailblazers have done against the Kings, running a zone defense and having success. So any team, or if I am the coach of any team that is playing the Kings, I am mixing in zone defense. I'm not saying I'm going 100% zone, but I'm going to give the Kings a healthy dose of it because it's slowing them down. And, it's hard. It's hard for a team. Mike Brown says, if you're open, you have a good look, take it. And so everybody pretty much has the green light, and the looks that they're getting are technically open. They're a little bit deeper than you would like, but they're just too quick in the shot clock, and they're shots that you could get anytime in the zone. Anytime. The zone will give that to you. Now, if the Kings start making all those, they've got to break out of the zone and go man to man. But the Kings have not, for as good of a 3-point shooting team as they are, they have not shown the ability to break a zone. Just strictly shooting the 3-ball. So that will be something to definitely watch for tomorrow night. I think tomorrow night is a very good opportunity to get a lot of guys some rest. And I want to see what they're going to do. This one kind of was confusing to me. Okay. Metu and Alex Lynn. Okay. Metu has not played meaningful minutes the last few nights or the last few games. Alex Lynn has gotten all those minutes. And part of it is matchups. Minnesota was big. So Alex got that matchup just like we saw when the Kings played. I can't think of it right now, or I can't think of them right now, but they had Andre Drummond. Alex Lynn got the minutes. But then in Portland, I was a little surprised that Alex Lynn got the minutes instead of Metu. That seemed to be a game that Metu could have, easily probably played in with the matchups that Portland had on the floor. So I want to see if this is like a Metu issue or if this is just strictly matchup based, because I was surprised that Metu went into the garbage time with like 6-7 minutes left, because to me, Metu is one of those pieces off the bench that you have to have healthy. 100%. Don't risk it. Can't risk it. Maybe Mike Brown just wanted to get him some run because he had not played in a couple of nights. I don't know. But the way those two roles have flipped the last two games, I want to see if that continues for a third game. So that's really what I want to see. I also want to see the Kings get the assist numbers back up. When they win, they are usually in the 30s, low 30s of assists. And they've been really struggling with the assist to turnover ratio. I know it's the first thing that Grant looks at when he is evaluating a game, but it's not been good the last couple of nights, or at least it was not good in the first half of last night's game. So I want to see that get back on track. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. Stay healthy. Don't put anything on tape that may show another team or give another team a hint or a tip on how to possibly beat you. Because when teams are playing man-to-man defense on the Kings, I'm not worried about what's on film, because so much of what the Kings do on offense is spur of the moment decision making based on how the defender is playing them. So it's not a set play where you're gonna run a back cut, set a back screen, and then you're gonna come off a double screen. They don't do that. It's like, think about an option offense in football. Quarterback can either hand the ball off if the hole is there. If the hole's not there, he can go and start to run with it. And if the DN comes to pick him up, then he can dish the ball off to his wingback that's coming around the end. It's kind of the same idea with the way the Kings run their offense. So, anyways, we will get to some more stories. Baseball opening day. Can't forget about that. How the pitch clock is changing everything. And much, much more. This is the crossover with Ryno. See you in about 30 seconds. All right, welcome back to the crossover. So, opening day in baseball. The A's are currently playing. I don't have a score for you, but there was one story that I found a little bit different. Did you see Shohei Ohtani? He is actually calling his own pitches. Traditionally, the catchers call the pitches. A pitcher can shake off a catcher. You know, you've all seen them. But no, this is the other way around. He is wearing a device. It's on his shoulder. And he is able to, I'll read it directly to you right now. So he is calling his own pitches through a pitch-com device hidden underneath his jersey near his left shoulder. Ohtani's decision to call his own games is directly related to the pitch clock. Shohei's has so many pitches to throw. So there's your first thing. So he's saying it would take too long for the catcher to run through the options. Well, that's the argument, right? So he's got so many pitches he can throw. Thursday night season opener against the A's. So for him to go through them, speaking of Ohtani, and shake and shake and shake, time's running out because that thing doesn't say it quick enough sometimes. So other pitchers have used one of these before. They are legal in Major League Baseball. But basically what it is they're pushing buttons. They're making eye contact, Nevin says, of Ohtani. And rookie catcher Logan O'Hoppe. So he's got a rookie behind the plate that's got to figure this out. It's a little different dynamic than what we've seen in the past, obviously, out there. However, they get it, and it's fine with them. So that's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting for those that care about baseball. I admittedly am not a big baseball guy, especially this early in the season. I will watch playoff baseball. That is exciting. But in terms of, just sitting down and watching an entire game right now, can't do it. Just can't do it. I know some of my friends can. Shout out to Tyler and Oshkosh. He's got the baseball package and he's got 3 screens going at once. So good for him. Just not my cup of coffee whatsoever. So anyways, yeah, baseball is back. I believe there was only one pitch clock violation today. And it's reportedly speeding up the game 25 to 26 minutes, which is a good thing. So yeah. That's kind of where we stand. I was hoping to hear from more of you about your King celebrations, but that's all right. There's always another time for that. We're gonna have some really fun stuff coming up here on the crossover. I'm gonna have an awesome guest coming up. I can't wait. Sean Salisbury is going to join me on the crossover pretty near future. So that's going to be a fun one. I have so much to talk to Sean about. And, baseball. Talk about baseball being king. It is still king in Houston. So want to get his mind or pick his mind on that and some other things that are not so related to sports. But Grant and I, we will be back tomorrow. I will have the pregame show for the Kings and the Portland Trailblazers, and then Grant will have the halftime show and the post-game show. I will join him on both of those, and we can't wait to have you back. Please tell a friend. The show just keeps growing and growing, and it's all because of you. And we love every one of you. We love the participation. You guys are the smartest, best, passionate fans in the world, easily, in any sport. So thank you so much for the support. We can't wait to ride this roller coaster with you guys. And we promise you we will be wall to wall coverage of it. We want to be your number one place for Kings game day coverage. And so far, that's exactly what we have been. So thank you so much. And hey, lick your wounds, still enjoy it. We are just about 24 hours out from the clinch. But you know what? I think, if 30-year-olds can have a week-long birthday celebration, I think this could roll through till the Kings take the court the next time, which is tomorrow night. So have yourselves a good rest of your Thursday. Be safe. Again, we will be back here tomorrow with full wall-to-wall Kings coverage. That's on the If You Don't Like That channel, Grant Napier's channel. Pregame will start at 6:30, and I can't wait to see all of you there. All right. I am Ryno in Sacktown. This has been the Thursday evening edition of the crossover. Thanks again so much for joining me. So long.